Hello again, everyone. Welcome back to the Best Darn Diddly Review Show. This is a weekly podcast for anyone who loves The Simpsons, or ever has loved The Simpsons, hosted by two dudes that grew up on The Simpsons. My name is Miles, better known as Mr. Most Days Off, and today we are getting technological on this show. You know what? I think we might bring this show to the internet. That's where I feel like our next step is going to be. We've been recording for 5 years now. We really ought to get it out there. I think that's the right move. So we're watching an episode that's going to teach us all about technology. But of course, when I need tech advice, I always call my good friend and your co-host with the most, Richie the Whiz Kid. How you doing today, Rich?
I'm just wondering why you just flat out lied. I talk to Miles about technical stuff, and usually what he does is go, if only there's this thing called Google where you could just type in.
You do ask me a lot of questions that Google could answer a lot better, but I
like
get
the human connection, man. I like to have somebody tell me. I still want to talk to you about freaking podcasting chairs. I've been looking at them during Black Friday, Miles. So we need to talk after the show. But yes, we will be dancing Jesuses in this episode, I guess, because that is how you bring the people to the websites.
That definitely won't get annoying as long as we have enough noise.
Exactly. It can all drown out to make a beautiful harmonious sound. But we need to get into that. So I better throw it back to you officially so we can get rocking and rolling here. The man, the myth, the computator. It is Miles.
Now I'm sitting here wondering if we should do a best darn everything where you and I just get on the Google and look at computer chairs together. Or maybe it's behind the get on the Google, or maybe it's behind the diddly, and we go out in the real world and actually sit in chairs, because that's what you got to do to really decide. But we'll talk about that, like you said, off air, I suppose, because today we do have an episode of The Simpsons to talk about. It is called The Computer Wore Menace Shoes, which is a parody of the 1969 Disney film, The Computer Wore Tennis Shoes.
Never
different
saw it.
Concept. Yeah, honestly, I didn't either. It's an old one, though, with a very young Kurt Russell and then Cesar Romero in it. So it actually sounds like an interesting little cast there. But, I mean, I'm talking looking at the images, Kurt Russell has acne and, a bowl cut. So, it's old.
Wasn't it 1967? Did you just say that?
It was 1969, but yeah, and I did just say
close.
that. Yeah,
I was so close.
Yeah,
that's all right. I'm not paying attention already.
It's all good. This episode did air on. Whoops, I just clicked off of it. It aired on December 3rd in the year 2000.
Don't worry, people. That's almost over.
That joke's for me and Richie and the two other people that watched Conan in the 90s. I'm pretty sure. Everyone else is just yep, Mr. Most Days Off is officially lost it. That show is as over the shark as The Simpsons itself is, according to most people.
Or they're all so young they think that you created that joke.
Yeah, I'm that original. That's actually yes. That's it. Sorry, Conan, you've had enough.
You had your time.
We get the shock gag on this one, which is actually pretty funny. I will only provide a urine sample when asked. It's very important. Actually, I have a fun story about a recent urine sample I was forced to provide, but it's another story for another day.
Or it's for this day right now, because that's the chalkboard gag.
We'll see. We'll see what happens with that. I don't really have an ending to that story yet because it's still up in the air. But when I do, it's going to be a good one.
Miles, it sounds like you're in trouble.
No, not in any sort of trouble, really. Just may or may not be able to do something cool, depending on if I got around it well enough. Maybe I'll find out I'm pregnant. We'll see.
You're trying to be sneaky, but you just flat out told everybody.
I mean, I'm not trying to hide it. I just don't have the full story engaged yet, but it'll be there one day. Either way, we also have a cool couch gag on this one. It's Santa's little helper doing the Snoopy dance from Peanuts, which I had very little from this week's commentary, I'll be honest. But one of the things I did learn was it was actually the animation department that just went ahead and did this one on their own, which usually the couch gags are actually written or, pitched. But the animation department just did this one. and they all loved it. So they're like, yeah, that's great. We'll definitely use that. And I'm pretty sure they did so without any permission from the Peanuts guys. But again, it's at this point, if you're getting referenced on The Simpsons, it's like a compliment or a honor, essentially. Or you're just a real asshole if you complain about it. It's some of our dreams, people.
To be assholes?
Exactly, yeah. Since I did bring up the commentary, not that they're assholes, that's a completely different reference.
What a segue.
What a save. These are future guests, mind you. We had a commentary team that was quite full, which we've talked about before, often means that there's very little from the actual commentary. That is very much the case today. This commentary team featured Ian Maxone Graham, Mark Kirkland, Max Cross, Mike Scully, Don Payne, Matt Selman, John Frank, Joel H. Cohen, there's a difference there, and Tom Gamble, and the writer of this episode, John Schwartzwelder, who was not able to make it for the commentary.
I just don't even bring him up, Miles.
Hey, there was that one time that they were on the phone, and then he had the legendary ending where he's like, nobody really knows what my voice sounds like, so maybe this isn't John Schwartzwelder. Classic. I'll be honest, this commentary did feel at times more like they were doing a pitch for several people's books that were coming out, and I don't blame them at all, but that is absolutely not something that is really fun to talk about on a podcast. Like 16 years after the fact. So from not when the episode aired, from when the commentary was recorded. But on that note, we have stuff you can buy. So do that or give us money on Patreon. And yeah, we'll just talk about that for the next hour of this show.
Cool.
It'll be just like The Simpsons.
We could do commentary on our commentary.
There we go. We'll do commentary about our original podcast and turn those into pitches for buying stuff. Buy our book.
Exactly.
We actually kicked this episode off with Homer trying to go to work, which is, first of all, just weird in general. But it's even more weird today because the gate at the power plant is actually locked. And Lenny and Carl show up to tell Homer that the plant is closed for fumigation.
No one told me the plant was closed.
Didn't you get the email?
What's an email?
It's a computer thing, like an electric letter.
A quiet phone call.
Homer explains that he does not have a computer, which gets a laugh from both Lenny and Carl. Too bad, that's why you're at work, and we're living it up on our day off. Hey, Carl, turn up the radio.
Why not? Anything goes today.
And they squeal off, like peeling out, and Homer's sitting there kind of upset or sad now that he doesn't have a computer, so he declares, that's it. As soon as someone lets me out of here, I'm getting a computer. And he starts rattling the gate before he realizes that he's still on the outside of it, so nothing's trapping him in. Oh, I'm so stupid.
All right, so Lenny and Carl are full of it because they literally went to work to tell Homer he shouldn't be at work. So they're mocking him for what they did. Like, did they know he was already up there? I mean, he didn't have a computer. Maybe they knew he'd be stupid enough to show up, but they went to work. So
they just wanted to do a drive-by for whatever reason
on their
day off,
which is so
like
weird.
I think most people will literally go out of their way not to drive by their store if they can, or their place of employment, if you will, just so that they don't have to go there.
Unless they live like right down the street from the plant, which would explain why they're such studious employees.
Well, aren't they still stonecutters? Like maybe they were just using the like secret like exit from that.
Maybe, I don't know. Well, no, they're not stonecutters anymore. They had that other place, the Baskin Robbins or wherever they ended up meeting at. I don't remember what happened at the end of
That's right, yeah.
Like 7 seasons ago, Miles.
See, now we're going to have to go back through and like refresh. We'll have to do second reviews of the episode because we forgot so much about all these episodes so far. Because it admittedly start to like melt together again, I won't lie.
Mm-hmm.
We do cut to Homer now shopping at Honest John's Computers, which is always a good sign when you have Honest in your name. That's like the equivalent of somebody having like Steady as a nickname or like Honest in their like nickname. Like, well, this is that case. I'm stupid. But
Repetitive Miles is podcasting.
repetitive in their name. Yeah, and anything like that. It's like, yeah, you always know you should trust that person more. Homer is pretty decisive, actually. He just like points at one and is like, yeah, I'll take that one.
Well, do you need a paperweight? Because if you buy that machine, that's all you're going to have. An expensive paperweight.
Well, a paperweight would be nice, but what I really need is a computer. How about that one?
That technology is 3 months old. Only suckers buy out-of-date machines. You're not a sucker, are you, sir?
Heavens no.
Oh, good, because if you were, I'd have to ask you to leave the store.
I just need something to receive email.
Oh, no, Richie's lips are dry. He can't whistle today. You'll need a top-of-the-line machine for that.
Which is hilarious, because they'll still use that trick on you. And we see, like, the, all-in version of the computer, like the best possible, like a super high-end gaming computer, essentially, except the 2000 version of that, so it's still, like, running DOS. But I love the line here. This is such a great little callback to a past episode.
That's the same computer astronauts use to do their taxes.
I was an astronaut.
Of course you were.
And the dude, like, doesn't believe him at all, of course, because why would you? Right. But it's just so great that in this case, he really was telling the truth. And also, astronauts doing their taxes really isn't any difference than, like, the guy at Burger King doing their taxes, for what it's worth. Taxes still take the same amount of effort, regardless of your occupation, with obvious exceptions.
If anything, the astronauts probably have it easier, because I would assume they have some government person that does it for them.
NASA just takes care of it. Yeah. This episode is kind of funny here for a few reasons. Obviously, there's jokes that are hilarious, but I mean more in a sense that this is such an outdated concept in so many ways. Because first of all, the idea now of, like, people, like, in general, and I understand there's a lot of privilege in this statement, but, like, across the board, for the most part, most people now have computers in their home. It's kind of funny to think of the idea that there would be people trying to function in 2021 without access to a computer, basically, is what I'm trying to get at.
A cell phone that does all the stuff that Homer's computer will do.
Which, that's kind of the comparison I was going to make. I feel like, as dated as this concept is, there really is a lot of comparison to now the same traps that we find ourselves in with things like cell phones. Like the idea that it's very often you feel like you go and you buy something that's any technology, but, like, be it a computer or a cell phone or whatever, you buy it and, like, 3 months later it's completely out of date, or it feels like it's crap compared to what's coming up now, or some amazing feature that you just have to have has been added to the thing that you just purchased that you now really want. And it very much is a trap in that manner. But also, like, the swarminess of this salesperson was really funny and subtle, and a lot. I love the idea where it's like, I just need something to do emails. It's like, oh, you're going to need something top of the line for that, which it's like, that is like the most basic function of a computer, even back then. Like, realistically, an email was not something that's going to stress out your processing power.
Yeah, this predated when phones all started coming pre-equipped with knockout gas as well, so that was part that really threw me for a loop in this episode.
Yeah, I know. It's everything's secular. It's all things in society. We just go in a big old loop. So Homer sees the $5,000 price tag, and he wants to do a spit take, but he doesn't have anything in his mouth. So first he finds a cup of coffee just so he can spit it out. But he's assured that this is the best computer in the world, he actually asked
the best computer in the world, and it always will be, right?
Of course. Again, 2 weeks, 3 months tops later, it's going to be out of date. The only thing that's a little different about this purchase, as what you might expect, is instead of swiping your credit card, they actually ask you to just swipe the deed to your home when purchasing it, and it actually announces when he goes through the machine, you're on your 5th mortgage.
He's just kind of like,
And then, in like the most cringeworthy part of the episode, Homer drags the computer. He like tied the computer to a rope and then dragged it behind the car, which makes zero sense. Like it will easily fit in the back seat. There's no reason this happened.
I don't know. Computers, the bigger the computer is, the better it is, right? Isn't that the way the world worked at one point?
That's how it was actually in 2000. That's absolutely true. It was going up, and then like it gets to a point where it's like, okay, now I have this mega like 6 monitor monstrosity in front of me, and then people are like, well, let's make it tinier.
Mm-hmm.
In this case,
Lisa, though, check out my new computer.
Dad, you shouldn't drag that around.
That's right, top of the line.
Bang! Car hits a pothole, and of course the computer hits it right behind.
Oh, stupid pothole. Don't worry, head. The computer will do our thinking now.
Homer, like when they hit the pothole, busted his head on the top of the car, but it's fine. He doesn't need a brain now, as he pointed out.
No, absolutely not.
Homer takes a moment to set up his new computer in just the perfect setup for himself, which includes a rear view mirror and a beer holder. Oh, yes, perfect. Now, then, he picks up the mouse and talks into it like it's a microphone or a walkie-talkie. Computer, kill Flanders.
Did I hear my name? My ears are burning.
Good start, computer. Now finish the job.
Oh, you're busy. Catch you later, computator.
Oh, $5,000 for a computer, and it can't even handle a simple assignment. And he just literally, almost as if like a cat that knocks something off of a counter, Homer just swipes the whole computer into a trash can.
Good thing Lisa's there to help him out. Dad, I'll set up your computer. Why don't you and Bart go play in the backyard?
And Homer just turns into a child instantly, gleefully tags Bart, "You're it!" And they go running off into the backyard. And Lisa, as you would expect, gets the computer set up and running, no problem, and has even taken the time to like write down simple steps for her father to be able to use the computer. That way it won't wind up in the trash again.
I mean, that's Lisa thinking ahead, man.
But apparently her steps weren't simple enough, because almost instantly we see Homer try to use the computer again, and this time he just tosses it in the trash outside. What? But Marge insists that he bring it back in, and he can't throw away the machine he just spent $5,000 on.
And then I think he slowly starts getting to here. Like he starts messing around with. I don't know why he was searching for what he was searching for, but it seems like he's starting to figure it out a little bit, man.
Apparently he was searching for Dancing Jesus, because that was a large theme of the website that he's building at this point. But yeah, he went from not being able to turn it on to building his own website. Granted, not a great one, but still, that's impressive. In the year 2000, that was not something that was like just quite as simple as it is today.
I mean, I don't know, Miles. Did we have Zanga in 2000? No, it's still a few years before Zanga.
No, I think this would have been Angel Fire, if I remember. And this might have even been before Angel Fire. But yeah, that would have been the website building tool that most people were using back then.
Yeah, we're still like 3 or 4 years away from Friendster at this point. Okay.
I think like we're in the heyday, or right around the heyday of AIM, AOL's Instant Messenger.
Ooh, good old days.
Yeah.
Miles... Yeah. Besides AIM, if there's a better use for the internet, I haven't found it.
I'm with you on that one. So Homer is actually looking at the Springfield Police Department website, where we have a digitized Wiggum basically asking, if you've committed a crime and want to confess, click yes. Otherwise, click no.
No.
You have chosen no, meaning you've committed a crime, but you don't want to confess. A paddy wagon is now speeding to your home. While you wait, why not buy a police cap or t-shirt? And we get a little ad where Wiggum's like demonstrating or showing off some hats and t-shirts, and then the digitized version of Wiggum comes back. Wow, you have the right to remain fabulous.
But we never get anything else on that story.
Yeah, apparently, maybe they went to the wrong IP address.
123 Fake Street.
Homer is now. Oh, this is actually where he goes from just browsing the web to building the web, because he's actually announced his website, or as he calls it, the world's greatest website, with a very highly annoying, like just awful, like images and sounds. It's very, very bad. Homer even announces, "You'd think all the noises would be annoying, but they're not."
Yeah. And this is the part of the episode that just felt a little off to me. These lines that Bart say in between Homer talking just are kind of dark.
Okay, let's get into them, because Bart announces that he got suspended from school today, and Homer is like almost not really paying attention. He's more or less ignoring Bart and looking at his computer. No kidding. What do you think of my page, Lisa? Be honest. It's great, isn't it? Go ahead. Say it's great if you want to.
Found a switchblade in my locker.
Bart's just like kind of talking in the background as Lisa's going on. Well, a web page is supposed to be a personal thing. You've just stolen a bunch of copyrighted material from everyone else. They could sue you for that.
I took a swing at a cop.
They can't sue me if they don't know who I am. I'll just call myself Mr. X.
I'm just mad all the time.
Yep, you can't go wrong with Mr. X.
Oh, like...
No, dude, you're not wrong. This is definitely the type of thing that you see in like there's a moment in every school shooter that they have this conversation and it goes the wrong way. And this could have been that moment.
Yeah, I don't know if they would go the route of doing that kind of stuff in an episode in today's.
Of course not. It's not South Park, but I'm just pointing out that is like the vibes it starts to give off. Like, I would be real sus if Bart was seeing movies by himself at this point.
Hey, I do that.
So do I, but I also, don't give off school shooter vibes, I hope.
Oh. No, Miles is too far out, man.
All right, let's bring it back in then. I'm bringing down the room, apparently.
Yeah.
All right, well, maybe we should all just take a moment and look at Homer's website to cheer up, because it hasn't gotten a single hit at this point, and Lisa's trying to give her father some advice that a successful page has to offer people something like jokes or opinions.
Well, I mean, he does start looking at stuff that he's been seeing in real life, which is kind of what you're supposed to do, I feel like, right?
Well, I actually really like this moment here, because as soon as Lisa says that you're supposed to share jokes or opinions, we hear outside a car hits that same pothole that was set up earlier in the episode when Homer hits it. And Homer was very audibly frustrated with that pothole earlier about how they should fix it. So it's like basically Homer does have opinions to share. And this is the inspiration for the first one that he chooses to share online. That lousy pothole.
He just has to wait for the tire to come crashing through his window.
Yeah, that's right. It actually lands in the fireplace in front of him. It's probably the inspiration for the movie Rubber, actually.
I had that same thought.
That tire was alive, is what I'm saying.
What a crazy movie.
Homer is like, that lousy pothole, why don't they fix it?
And then all of a sudden, Bart's in a great mood. I heard Mayor Quimby spent the street repair fund on a secret swimming pool for himself.
Get out. Who told you that?
Oh, now you pay attention to him. Nelson?
That's the kind of dirt that belongs on my webpage.
You can't post that on the internet. You don't even know if it's true.
Nelson's never steered me wrong before, honey. Nelson is gold.
You know, it might have been Jimbo.
Beautiful. Now we have confirmation.
God, it's just...
That's how the media works. This is
so true, yeah.
This episode is so ahead of its time for so many reasons, including another joke that's coming up.
Oh my God. I wrote a note down about it being like, yep, that's how it works.
That is how the world works. Yep. We cut from the Simpsons newsroom, which is really their kitchen with rumors, but we see that Comic Book Guy is in his bachelor pad where he has tacos and the internet. There's a girl there's a bikini girl on the wall. It's like a total comic book guy bachelor pad. And he's going through his searches of everything that starts with X, and he's got quite a few of those, we'll just say, for whatever reason. But he's never seen Mr. X before. And he's like, I love the line here. He's basically, he's looking at porn, folks. That's what's happening. And when he finds the Mr. X sign, he has a moment where he asks himself, am I ready to cross the final frontier? Implying his curiosity, we'll say.
Yes. Click.
And when he sees Homer's pothole story pop up, which is not the thing he was expecting to pop up, he is immediately outraged, and he screams, there is no emoticon for what I'm feeling!
That's how rumors start, Miles.
We also see that Principal Skinner has come across the Mr. X's scoop, and he can't believe it. Our mayor is corrupt? Mr. X has done this town a great service, despite his poor grammar and stuff.
Seymour, are you looking at naked ladies?
No, Mother.
You sissy.
Agnes is disappointed in her son for not looking at porn, is what that implies.
She would have been disappointed at him if he was, though. That's the point.
That's true. The point is she is just disappointed in him. You're right.
You can't win, Skinner.
We see now at City Hall, Mayor Quimby is actually trying to avoid the press because some of the reporters are actually trying to sneak a look past his private doors, we'll say, and they barge into a secret.
Well, he's clearly wearing a robe with a bathing suit on underneath, and he's trying to cover it up.
A pool? What pool? I don't know what pool you're talking about. And then the reporters barge into the locked room, and they see this lavish, Roman-inspired pool with statues and everything. And we even see a guy wearing a city worker uniform, and he's building one of these beautiful statues with cement that's literally labeled pothole cement.
Yeah. What a waste of funds to actually have it say pothole cement.
Good Lord, we've discovered the ruins of an ancient city. Okay, you do better.
I mean, so Homer was right, Miles, or I guess Nelson and Jimbo were right.
That's the big takeaway that Homer has for now. I know Lisa's going to have some feelings about that later, but right now Homer's just excited. He did it. I've changed the world. Now I know exactly how God feels.
You want turkey, sausage, or ham?
Bring me 2 of every animal. And we see Santa's little helper and Snowball 2 just kind of quietly leave the room whimpering to themselves. And that does bring us to the end of our first act. Just for time's point, we end this one at 6 minutes and 38 seconds, which is almost exactly perfect. 6:33 would have basically been right at the middle because this episode is just barely over 20 minutes. So a very even act to start out.
Yeah. Sorry, I was yawning while saying yeah. It's not because you're boring. It's just because
it can be both. It can be two
early morning for Richie.
It can be 2 things.
You want me to be 2 things?
We open up our second act with Homer watching the news about himself because Kent Brockman is now doing a report on Mr. X. A new internet watchdog is creating a stir in Springfield. Mr. X, if that is his real name, has come up with a sensational scoop.
Darn tootin'.
But we must never forget that the real news is on local TV, delivered by real, officially licensed newsmen like me, Kent Brockman. Coming up, how do they get those dogs to talk on beer commercials? And we see a reporter in a giant cowboy hat. Cowboy Steve will tell you.
Oh.
Because the news is so serial.
Mm-hmm. All right, so Homer is the news central dude now. I'm not going to listen to news media ever again, Miles. Homer's my guy. Mr. Nex, as you called him.
Well, Mr. Nex or Mr. X, as I think he likes to be called, if that is his real name. We see that he's gotten at least the job done for now, because as we look out the Simpsons window, there is a city crew filling in that pothole.
Mm-hmm. With pothole cement, I would assume.
And as you pointed out earlier, it seems like Homer did get this right, or Nelson's, source was correct in this case. But Lisa points out that he should probably quit while he's ahead, because he kind of got lucky that first time. And just because one of these sources is correct doesn't mean they're going to keep being correct.
Unless...
Homer agrees that he should probably bring this thing to an end. Just kidding. I'm going to keep digging up dirt. And we see at the Quickie Mart, Krusty and Apu are having a conversation, and Richie is having a crisis of conscience about which voice he wants to do.
A coconut bagel, like poison it tastes.
And Apu responds, "All right, I'll tell you a secret. My bagels are nothing but weak old donuts."
Who am I to point the finger? I once ran over a guy in a parking lot and dumped the body on a golf course.
And Homer is like stoked because he's hiding in the freezer, and he's just landed on a bombshell.
He's not in the freezer. He's just kind of back between.
I thought this is where he's hiding in the freezer.
No, he's like in between the freezer and the end cap on an aisle.
Oh, I thought he was literally hiding behind the freezer door.
He's not Frostilicus. That is not his role.
Okay, fine, fair. My mistake. I clearly ruined the entire fucking podcast. Calm down.
I mean, unless he was actually in the freezer. But, Nelson and Jimbo told me he was in the freezer.
Ah, well, that's confirmation on that story. So Homer has got this bombshell that he's just uncovered, and obviously that you think it's going to be that Krusty dumped a body on a golf course, but we see the headline pop up on his website, the faux bagels, basically, and it's all about how his bagels are really just old donuts.
Because that's the thing that concerns Homer more.
Very true. We see Wiggum holding a press conference where they have confiscated all of the donuts in town, probably even from the not Quickie Marts, just to confirm, basically. And he's more or less praising Mr. X for calling attention to these issues.
But then someone asked Wiggum about I forgot what the first thing they asked is, but the second thing they asked him is, "Do you use the electric chair to cook chicken?"
And don't we actually? He's like, not anymore, basically. But like, he's clearly been cooking chicken.
Yeah.
Homer starts to realize, though, that there might be some problems with Mr. X. Oh no, actually, I think I'm jumping ahead. This is later. Yeah, this is the first time at Moe's Tavern where he's hanging out with Lenny, Moe, and Carl.
According to my uncle, Miss Springfield isn't as beautiful as she seems. Word is, she uses appearance-altering cosmetics.
Moe is like, "Oh my God, that's shocking."
The public should be warned. I wish Mr. X was here.
And Homer's very slyly, "Oh, I don't know, Carl. He might be closer than you think."
Are you him? Are you Mr. X?
No.
But you talked in the real sly voice. Hey, everybody! Homer's Mr. X.
I am not. Or am I?
Are you?
No.
I'd give a beer to Mr. X if he were here right now.
Homer obviously is tempted, but he doesn't want to give away his identity just yet.
No, he asked Moe if he can tell him a secret, and Moe's like, "I'm not too good at keeping secrets." And Homer's like, "Are you sure?" And he's like, "Yes."
Yes. We see that the next day, Homer is in the restroom singing, I've been sitting on the toilet all the livelong day. That's at the power plant. But Burns and Smithers come in and somehow don't notice Homer, even though, again, he's just been singing.
I think as they walk in the bathroom, he stops. Maybe the fear of being ridiculed for singing while on the toilet made him stop for a second.
I guess anything's possible.
Is everything ready for the secret meeting, Smithers?
Yes, sir.
I hope no one finds out about this. It's pure journalistic dynamite.
Sir, this place could be bugged. And he turns on the hand dryer. Oh, okay, now we can talk.
Turn it off.
Burns is like being blown away because the force of the air dryer is so strong for his feeble old body that it's just, he can't handle it.
It's so strong, but it does not dry his hands.
Yeah. That's
After
fair.
it's turned off, he has to wipe his hands off on his suit. Journalistic dynamites.
So Burns meets with some dangerous looking men in his office, and Homer's hiding in the air vent up top. He's got a notepad in his hand. He's actually taking notes. And when I say dangerous looking men, they're like clearly like terrorists.
Then it's agreed. I'll supply you terrorists with deadly uranium.
You are a credit to the great Satan.
Oh, pshaw.
And Homer's like, I love spying. But then the terrorists pick up a bar of uranium, and radioactive gas boils off the surface of the rod.
Don't worry about those fumes. They'll be sucked into that air vent.
Oh, and then we see that Homer drops his pad out of the vent and it falls to the floor.
This place is falling apart.
And so Burns just picks up that pad and shoves it right back into the vent like it's supposed to be there.
I enjoyed that very much.
Apparently Homer's alcohol tolerance is also giving him some like uranium tolerance as well, because he's able to recover enough to write up his story that night. And basically, as soon as he uploads it to his page, we see the FBI swoop in on Burns. 2 agents drag him past Homer's window for some reason.
And like, didn't get that either, but okay.
And Homer just is like nonchalantly like watching his boss get arrested. And that's when the town realizes that Mr. X might be the hero that they needed. They wish that they knew who he was so that they could give him this year's Pulitzer Prize. And Homer is so into the idea of being rewarded that he decides to...
It's not just the Pulitzer, Miles. The woman announces that since they don't know who Mr. X is, his cash award will be used to feed starving children.
I mean, the cash award is part of the Pulitzer, so it is still the Pulitzer. But yes, Homer more cares about the money.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Or maybe it's just he really hates starving children. We don't know. It could be either way. But Homer screams out no, and he runs up screaming, "I'm Mr. X, gimme, gimme."
We'll need some proof.
So Homer grabs his black hood with a white X on it and puts it over his head, which is the image that's used on the website. Ta-da!
He is Mr. X. Ha!
Thank you, folks. And now I'm off to expose more secret conspiracies. And
bang!
Bing! Oh, I bit my thong.
Walks into a light pole.
Marge is very proud of Homer for winning the Pulitzer.
I'm proud that you won the Pulitzer.
Finally.
But I do feel bad about the starving children.
They're with God now.
Oh, well, that's good.
Oh. Marge realizes the implication of Homer's statement.
Another dark child joke in the episode.
It's a short shoulder episode. There's some dark stuff written in here. It's almost got some Merkin moments going on here.
Maybe, yeah.
But Homer realizes that there was an advantage to keeping his secret, because now that people know his identity, they're not really so welcoming to him being around. Like even at Moe's bar, they don't really want, secrets being overheard. When he's at church, Reverend Lovejoy stops conversing with his wife.
Hans Moleman was underneath Moe's tavern. You could see his eyes and hear him talk, and Moe kind of put his foot over the hole.
Yeah, he doesn't want Mr. X to find out.
Yeah, like that. What the hell's going on there?
It's not the darkest thing Moe has ever done either.
No.
Maybe Mole Man is like a species, almost like the Oompa Loompas in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Well, we have seen the Mole Men under the earth before, and they do make a comment in this episode about people living under the surface world.
Yeah, there you go. That's the real secret.
But
they stay underground so they don't get hit in the nads.
Or because every time one of them comes to the surface, they die. That's the rumor.
Well, this revelation of Homer's identity has not done anything well for his website. In fact, we see that his counter is actually going down. And when you visit his webpage, a tumbleweed actually bounces across the site now.
It's more entertaining than all the other crap that was on there before.
Lisa points out that you can't post news if you don't have any, and that tells Homer, great idea, I will make up some news.
At least take off your Pulitzer Prize when you say that.
Homer obliges, removes it from around his neck. I
knew you were gonna say that Homer line just because you're so excited about this part.
Wait, what?
Like when you said the Lisa line, well, you can't post news if you don't have any. I knew, like, just knowing you, I knew that you were going to immediately do the. That's a great idea. I'll make up some news because it's a lead-in to what's about to happen. You may have done it subconsciously, but I know you're super excited to talk about this part of the episode, and I am too.
You've honestly completely lost me. I just thought that that's how reading a script worked, but I don't even know what's happening right now.
Usually we alter lines when there's two in a row, but because of what's coming up about what Homer's about to do, I feel like subconsciously you're excited.
No, I honestly just felt like we've talked about this before. I don't like to read, just do nothing but read the script. So I was trying to make the show not so stretched out by doing this, but good call and having a conversation about it. That seems like great content.
Oh,
would you like to go back and read the lines, sir?
No. I want this enthusiasm that you have to keep going for this part.
All right. Well, Homer does take off his Pulitzer Prize. He gives it to Santa's little helper. And that's when we find his first story, which concerns a new race of beings found living under Denver. Spanish and Italian are the same language, or so goes another scoop. I literally have no idea what you're talking about.
Well, right here, the scene shifts to the Flanders home.
Gotcha. Sorry, like that threw me off so much. But yes, you are correct. The scene now goes to Flanders' home, where Flanders, of all people, is actually reading Homer's site, where they are controlling our minds with flu shots. Flanders is like, I knew it! Well, kids, aren't you glad we don't believe in inoculations?
Yay!
Mommy? That is my favorite line of the episode.
Oh, man. But it's just, like you said it earlier in the episode, this episode, why does this track so well today? I mean, we all know why, but...
Yeah. And the fact that Ned is an anti-vaxxer is hilarious to me on so many levels. But I do love that Todd, I believe it was, or possibly Rod, one of them was like essentially seeing their recently deceased mother, which implies heaven is real. So there's that. Or that he's just having a near-death hallucination.
Or hell.
Yeah, that's true. That's a dark theory. This is a dark episode. Homer decides he needs to take a trip to the Quickie Mart, where he asks. I feel like I skipped something here too.
No, the next scene he's going out there and he just sees Nelson outside the Quickie Mart.
Yeah, Nelson is telling him that he's got the bindles to prove that they're dissecting frozen hobos in science class.
Real news is great, son, but I'm getting 1,000 hits an hour with grade A bull plop. What a word.
Hey, it sells, right? Sensationalization.
He created clickbait.
Yeah, Simpsons did it, right?
Yep.
Homer actually goes inside the Quickie Mart here and asks Apu for some lottery tickets because Mr. X is on a roll. But Apu is weirdly still and silent and unresponsive.
It's really good animation here, I want to add.
Yeah, I would agree, because the angle that we're seeing it at, it does look like Apu, but we very quickly discover that it's actually a cardboard cutout of Apu. And in fact, the entire Quickie Mart is a fake. This is a semi-truck, we discover, that has been made to look like the Quickie Mart's entrance, but is actually a entire truck's width in front of the Quickie Mart, where the real Apu has been tied up. The only thing that just kind of drives me slightly crazy, but I can definitely get over it, is wouldn't Homer just be parked out in the middle of the parking lot, not in a parking space, based on the fact that would have been in the parking spaces?
Well, and that would also mean that like instead of walking straight into the Quickie Mart, the semi truck would be facing at a perpendicular angle, not a parallel angle. So to walk into the back of the semi would have to have a door on the side.
On the side of it?
Yeah, it does. The logistics don't work out, but that's okay.
Well, if you can have a mystery island, I guess you can build a semi trailer with a side door.
There are mystery islands in the world, Miles. Come on, everyone knows that.
Journey to the Center of the Earth 2, anybody?
Yeah, there you go.
Then that's the other thing too, is Bart like right afterwards rides his skateboard right by his father's car, which at this point should be again like a pretty far way, like just randomly parked out, which should kind of give people some alarm. But he's the one that discovers that Apu is actually tied up with his mouth taped. He unties Apu and
he's reading the cards too, or the magazines.
Yeah, he's reading the magazines, and the first thing Apu says when he rips off the tape is, "Hey, this is not a library."
And then we see the semi driving off with Homer in the back of it, and you hear him screaming, "Save me, Mr. X!" Wait, I'm Mr. X. Oh.
he's in peril, and no one's there to save him. That brings us to the end of our second act, timestamp at 13 minutes and 19 seconds, which again is very much making this a very evenly paced. All three acts are going to be right in that 6.5 minute mark.
Woohoo!
Give or take, of course. But this is where this episode is going to take a bit of a turn for the weird, I am going to say. And I'm also going to just go ahead and talk about a few things from IMDb and the commentary a little bit right now. Most of the stuff on the commentary was stuff that was a repeat from IMDb, which is probably where IMDb got it. But there wasn't a lot of fresh stuff that I was able to bring away. But this whole last act is essentially based on a British TV show called The Prisoner, which was in 1967. The actor Patrick McGoohan was a main character on that show. And he plays number 6 in this episode, which is a nod to his character number 6 in the show The Prisoner. This was actually Patrick McGoohan's final TV appearance before his death on January 13th, 2009, where he died at the age of 80. However, he did go on to do one other voice acting role for the movie Disney's Treasure Planet, which I never actually saw, but I've heard is really good.
Yeah, I never saw that either, but I've heard great things about it. When this episode came out live, like as soon as the scene started, my dad, "Oh yeah, this is that TV show The Prisoner," and I'm like, "Why would you know that?"
I don't know why, but I just had a feeling your dad was going to know this reference.
Oh yeah,
it just makes sense.
I think the bubble part might have been from that too, and he brought that up in the other episode. What was that? The Joy of Sect with Marge escaping the religious cult. And the bubble chased her too. Like my dad knew it back then too. Like
they even use the same music that plays in the Joy of Sect. They use that same music for this episode as well. And yes, that is absolutely a reference to The Prisoner. Though I think in The Prisoner it may have been a little bit more of a useful weapon because it just popped. It just popped instantly in this version.
Well, I like the phrasing that Homer uses in this one, too. I think that might be a copyright thing. I don't know, or just a joke on a joke. But we'll get to that in the script when it comes up.
Right now, Homer has realized he's been kidnapped and taken to some sort of hideout, which is like a very lush estate. It's got exotic plants and birds. People are dressed in like fancy
Flamingo wearing a hat, Miles.
Very fancy. Yeah, no doubt. Homer's like, "Huh, what's that?" He's waking up, and the first thing he sees is a pink flamingo wearing a hat, which is a little off-putting. What the hell? How did I get here? What is this place?
This is the island.
How do I get out of here?
Oh, no one leaves the island.
So I'm a prisoner? How come?
Because you know something.
But I don't know anything. At least I don't think I do.
See you tomorrow.
No, you won't. And he runs to one of the like phone booths that you see commonly in London and is like, "Hello, operator? I'd like to report a really weird island. Please send lots of rescue copters to Oh, all right, whatever. And this is the first of many times we're going to see Homer get gassed in this episode.
Knockout gas.
This time, Homer wakes up at a cocktail party where the room is decorated in a like pop, like modern style, lava lamps, wallpaper. Pop like 70s style.
30 years ago.
Yeah,
and the year 2000.
at this time, yeah. Everyone's wearing Carnaby street togs is what it's described as. I have no idea what it is. Like 70s garb.
What's in the episode in this part?
Yeah. This is where we meet the Patrick McGowan's character number 6.
Welcome, friend. I'm number 6.
I'm number 15. What number are you?
I am not a number. I am a man. And don't you ever... Oh, wait. I'm number 5. In your face, number 6.
He literally looks at his lapel and sees it like mid like rant about how he's a man, not a number. But Homer's just very confused. He's wondering who everybody is. And number 6 goes on to explain that they're all kept there because they know too much. For instance, number 27 there knows how to turn water into gasoline. Number 12 knows the deadly secret behind Tic Tacs. And number 6, well, he invented the bottomless peanut bag.
Wow. Yoink. So what brought us here?
Who brought us here? I don't know.
Did you bring us here?
No.
I mean, that's the important question to ask.
We cut back to Springfield where Marge is with Police Chief Quimby and Lou. Wait, it should be Police Chief Wiggum and Quimby. And yeah. That threw me off for a second.
They do sound similar at times.
They were they were taking a bloodhound dog through the woods, like doing a search for Homer. Don't worry. Even if half of your husband is out here, Officer Scraps will find him.
Oh, that's a darling name for a dog.
The dog sniffs Homer's scent, and he takes a run immediately to the ocean, where he starts swimming out, but then realizes he can't swim. So we hear the dog like frantically like trying to keep its head above water, and they didn't say anything, but I'm like so confident that Dan Castellaneta is the one doing the dog noises here because it sounds just like Homer whimpering in a lot of ways.
Aww. Good old Police Chief Quimby.
Wiggum orders Lou to go after him, and Lou starts to take off his shoes, but Wiggum's like, Lou, the shoes are part of the uniform.
Oh, what's the worst feeling?
It really, soggy shoes suck, yeah.
Oh.
We cut back to the island where Homer is once again awakening from being gassed, it would seem. This time he's got an empty teacup on his belly. I guess he's like, oh, they drugged the tea. They knew my only weakness.
Hello, number 5. How is every little thing?
Who are you, and why are you holding me here? I want answers now, or I want them eventually.
Fair enough. I'll level with you.
And then Homer throws his tea saucer at him.
Ow! Please don't do that.
Oh, sorry. He immediately apologizes.
Yeah. I'll be blunt. Your webpage has stumbled upon our secret plan.
That's impossible. All my stories are bullplop. Bullplop!
Don't be cute. I'm referring to the flu shot expose. You see, we're the ones loading them with mind-controlling additives.
And this is where you have it, folks. Simpsons did it. They told you that the vaccine was a scam before all the QAnon tinfoil hat folks did. So
this
Simpsons
actually, like, there were like crackpots posting this kind of stuff back in the day too, though. Like,
of course, yeah. There's nothing new here. Yeah, nothing is original.
Just wash, rinse, and repeat. You know.
Yep, secular, man. It's all secular, just like technology. But they point out. I do like that they point out that the reason they give the flu shot when they do is to get everybody into a shopping frenzy before Christmas.
Makes sense.
Yeah,
of course. It's so simple. Wait, no, it's not. It's needlessly complicated.
Yes, it is, and we can't have you out there mucking it up now, can we?
No, sir.
That's a good boy. Now let's get you some ice cream. And oh my god, this is maybe the best visual joke because like there's a bowl of ice cream that is so clearly filled with hypodermic needles, like syringes that are like obviously going to drug him once again. And Homer just like puts his whole face into it. And when he pops up, he's literally got like needles sticking out of him, almost like that trap in Saw 2.
Look, you can drug me all you want, but my family won't rest until they find my drug-bloated corpse. God.
I wouldn't count on that, number 5. As far as your family knows, Homer Simpson is walking in the front door right now.
I'm sorry? What?
And we cut back to the Simpsons' home, where a very German version of Homer has infiltrated the home. Marge at first doesn't notice because he does look a lot like Homer in many ways. And Marge is like, "Homie!"
Marge, honey Fraulein, I'm home.
"You're not my husband."
Please forgive my unexplained 2-week absence. To make it up to you, we will go out to dinner at a sensibly priced restaurant, and I'm Polish now from some reason, then have a night of efficient German sex.
Well, I sure don't feel like cooking. A great Marge line for what it's worth. Again, this is a very clearly an imposter. It's not they're not even really trying that hard to hide it.
He looks just like him though.
But at one point he's having to shave his head and he doesn't even go there. He's like literally sitting on the couch just shaving his head like in front of
That's
Bart.
Homer would do.
Yeah, I guess. Back on the island, Homer is playing croquet, and once again, one of the balls gasses him. So, like, this is just a repeated incident on this island. And we see Homer. This is where you see Homer number 2, or the German Homer, who's using that electric shaver and just shaving right in front of Bart. Bart's like, "Hey, Dad, there's something different about you."
I don't remember what he said.
He says that he explains that he's wearing a new tie, and Bart's like, "Oh, that must be it."
That's right. I was just thinking of the gas bill on this island must be ridiculous.
Shit, yeah, for real.
So do that to everybody or just Homer? Like, I want to know.
Homer's had enough of it because he's like, "I'm tired of being drugged in gas. There's got to be a way to escape." And that's when number 6 like gets his attention and goes on to explain that he's actually got a plan. He shows Homer a raft that's made of like toilet paper and sticks, it looks like.
"I've worked on this for 33 years. It's made out of toilet paper rolls, toothpicks, and plastic forks. And the sail is made of scabs and dynamite. It's small and it's smelly, but it should carry both of us to..."
Homer punches him and then jumps in his boat and steals it, taking off.
That's the 3rd time that's happened.
He's got to quit sharing his plan, man.
Yeah, good old prisoner 6.
This is where we get the anti-escape orb that Homer's able to pop with just a simple plastic fork. Plastic fork.
I really like the animation here because it's slowly closing in on him. He's like, and he peels the plastic fork off the boat and just goes pop.
We get a quick cut to the bad guys, and the number 2 is like, "Why did you think a big balloon would stop people?"
"Shut up, that's why."
We cut to now. Homer has made it somehow. He parked this boat in his driveway.
Yeah,
so
it goes on land.
He made it. It's an amphibious vehicle somehow. He runs home, logs into his computer, and starts writing about these crazy creeps on the island. But as he's typing these words, they start to melt away, and a pop-up box with number 2 appears on screen, informing Homer that he's being shut down.
Uh-oh. That's probably not good.
Homer is like, "You can't stop me," but the imposter Homer attacks him.
And I think he takes the cord from the computer and starts trying to strangle him from behind.
And number 2 is like cheering it on, like, "Yes, fight and struggle."
"If I know me, he won't like being kicked in the crotch."
Got in Himmel.
And then all the family shows up behind them while they're fighting. "Oh, Marge, it's me, the real Homer."
"Oh, homie."
Bravo, number 5. But you know what happens to bad little fishies who
Lisa's like, "Can I turn this off?"
Absolutely.
Click.
Hey!
And the number 2 is powerless now that the monitor is off.
I still don't understand like how this whole computer thing works with the words falling off the screen, yet he can still see through the screen. Like, it's this weird magical screen, Miles.
Yeah, it's impressive technology for the year 2000.
Must have been a PowerPoint presentation.
The whole family is reunited, and it seems that it's all going to end well. But unfortunately for Homer and the family, it seems that Santa's little helper's collar has now been rigged with a sleeping gas trap. So for like the 6th time this episode, Homer's been gassed. But this time, his entire family has been gassed with him. And the next thing you know, the entire Simpsons family is wearing like these Victorian clothes and sitting on this country club.
Once you get used to the druggings, this isn't a bad place.
Oh, it's wonderful. Truly God's country. We see a koala bear wearing some creepy sunglasses come onto screen. He turns and looks directly into the camera, removes his glasses, revealing that his eyes are actually gas nozzles. And of course, we, the audience, end the episode by being gassed ourselves as the scene fades to black.
See you on the island.
Yes, the island. And that brings us to the end of our 3rd act, which again I mentioned was 20 minutes and 1 second. So actually a little bit of a short episode, but a very evenly paced episode and a pretty strong episode. But we're going to have some thoughts about that. Richie, was there anything else that you or that book of yours wanted to say about the Computer War Menace shoes?
Yeah, I definitely kind of feel like it jumps the shark a bit in the 3rd act on this one. But the last scene where you see the family right before they get gassed, I did not see Maggie. And when they woke up on the island, I didn't see her either. So
maybe there's like FCC regulations against drugging an infant. I don't know.
I was thinking maybe that's how they get off the island before the next episode starts.
Maggie saves them. I mean, obviously, you got to leave that out there for the reset, right?
We never saw number 1, though. Maybe she's number 1. It'd be a weird twist.
I like that theory, actually.
Yeah.
Maggie's running it all. It's like Evil Morty. You just see Lisa with it. I'm sorry, Maggie with like an eye patch when she's on the island. Yeah.
Or an eye patch over her pacifier hole. But I mean, honestly, I liked this episode a little bit better this time watching it. I've never been really big on this episode. I get annoyed with the gassings when that starts happening. I feel like they just don't know what else to do, so they keep redoing that part. And the whole... I don't know. It's never been one of my favorite ones, but with what we're going through in modern times right now, I feel like this episode packs a little bit more of a punch nowadays. So I know when I got to my car last night from work, I saw a text from Miles talking about the, I think you used the term flu shot or vaccine. And I was like, oh God, this is going to be ridiculous. But yeah, those jokes definitely hit pretty hard by today's standards.
This is one of those just weird episodes that even though it's so clearly out of date in so many ways, again, like the concept of buying a home computer is kind of like something that I feel like if a younger person were to watch this episode, they'd be kind of confused. Like, first of all, why aren't you buying a laptop? And secondly, if you're going to buy top of the line, why isn't it a Mac? But other than that, though, it's also one of those episodes that's so weirdly ahead of its time in many ways. And again, we've said it a lot, but society truly is secular. That's a thing that really does happen. So it is funny that we get into these weird cycles that repeat themselves. But I think that, the current anti-vax movement is really only seems so much bigger now than it did back then. One, because we're adults and we're more aware of those things, and two, because of the internet being much more a part of all of our lives, and the fact that we do all carry computers in our pockets 24/7.
Which means all the Homers have all the computers too.
Which means that literally every Homer in the world can a lot more easily voice their opinions and put out their so-called jokes and opinions to the world a lot easier than they were able to back then. They didn't need a Lisa to teach them how to do it. They could just buy a phone and start tweeting, essentially. It feels worse now, but I think in a lot of ways that's an artificial magnification. I think these idiots have always existed. They're just louder now.
Exactly. I agree with that statement.
But as far as the episode goes, yeah, this one I feel like I like it a lot. I don't want to imply that I don't like it, but I do almost feel like it might be a higher rated episode than I feel it deserves. And I don't think it's the strongest John Schwartzwelder episode that's out there either. I think there's a lot of great jokes in it, but I feel like too maybe that I'm missing some of the maybe this is an episode that hits a lot harder for people that were like more familiar with the source material, The Prisoner, which I often say, though, I think the beauty of The Simpsons is a lot of times you don't have to be familiar with the source material to understand the humor that they present. And obviously there was a lot of great jokes, but I do wonder how, like, you know, somebody that watched The Prisoner would interpret this episode or review this episode compared to ourselves.
I'm like, after I initially finished watching this episode, I was wondering, because I wasn't a big fan of Homer versus Dignity, where I felt like maybe they went a little too far or obscure with some of the stuff. And I thought maybe I need to keep track of season 12, episode 5. Maybe that's when the Simpsons, quote unquote, jumped the shark in my mind. We'll have to wait and see. So
this could be the end of your golden age.
Well, I'm saying the last episode, not this one. So like this one was kind of strong at parts, but I definitely feel like it could be along the same lines as the last episode in ways.
See, for me, it would be Insane Clown Poppy still. Like, again, though, that one's such an outlier compared to Homer vs. Dignity, which is about the core family and a more Homer-centric episode. But yeah, I definitely think we're in a place where we need to start keeping track more so of those episodes. And that might be something that thematically comes up during our season 12 finale spectacular. Yeah, but for now, I think that is going to do it for this week's episode, our review of the Computer War Menace shoes. You can follow Richie online. He's at the WizKid_23.
No, you won't find me at that one. You'll find me at the Wiz_Kid23.
Yeah, totally fucked that up.
It's all good.
Get a better screen name.
You can follow Miles at Every Day I'm Off.
Beautiful.
He's at Mr. Most Days Off. But most importantly, you don't care about the two of us, although you should care about Miles, so you can see a lot of his stand-up stuff. You can follow our show at Best Darn Diddly. That is DIDDLY.
And Richie and I will be back again. Most likely next time you hear us, we'll be discussing something for the Best Darn Everything series that we do. But we've got another episode, highly rated episode, or a 7.3 out of 10, a pretty solidly rated episode, I should say. We are going to be reviewing The Great Money Caper when we return to The Simpsons.
And just remember, everyone, this podcast is basically made out of toilet paper rolls, toothpicks, and plastic forks. And our mouses are made of scabs and dynamites. It's small and it's smelly, but this podcast could carry the both of us to stardom.
And until next time, be cromulent to each other.